So we just got our rough tumble from one of our previous videos out of this canister, and so it is time for us to start something new in here. This week we are going to be starting some carnelian. And when it first starts out, it looks a lot like gravel. You will have the opportunity to just kind of watch this quick video and see a 4+ week process. Save you some trouble instead of waiting a full month. To start off this tumble, we will be filling this container about 2/3 of the way full with our carnelian gravel chunks. Okay, close enough to 2/3 full. So for this first week, we are going to be using a 60 grit silicon carbide. And just so I don't have to look at the instructions every time, I have them written on our containers. This will get 2 tablespoons per pound of rock. This is a 3-pound tumble. So I'll just assume that there are 3 pounds of rock in there. So we will be putting 6 tablespoons in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tablespoons of grit. Ha ha ha. Okay, and after that, we will just be putting some water in. Make sure that we go to the top of all of the rocks. That way it can tumble freely. Make sure that grit gets distributed in there. And we'll get the lid on here. Get as much air out as possible. That way we don't have any leaks. Onto the tumbler we go. We'll see you in a week. So today we are going to do a clean out on our carnelian. It's just now done with the stage 1 first week of tumbling. A little foamy. Let's see how we did. Carnelian's neat because it does have that banding in it. Wasn't really apparent before we did the stage 1 on it. And I do have some stones in here that have collected some of that grit in there. Kind of figure out if we want to do another tumble on the stage 1 or if we want to just stick them in the ultrasonic cleaner to get that out, or just save back the ones that have it packed in there. So you can kind of see where that tumbling grit media is in some of those little crevices in there. That one looks really neat. Next time you'll see these will be in the basement. So with our carnelian, we did decide to go ahead and do stage 1 again on it. So I'm gonna go ahead and put another 6 tablespoons of our 60 grit stage 1. Carnelian is a tougher stone, so it might just take it a little bit longer to do its thing. Throw it up on here. See it in another week. So today we are done with our stage 1 for the Carnelian, hopefully. We'll dump it out, kind of see how it looks. Make a determination if it needs to go for another week or not. So here's how they look at the end of this first week. I think we'll probably just go ahead and put these in the ultrasonic cleaner to make sure we can get all that grit out of there, because they are still slightly pitted up. And this is the second week that we've had them in the stage 1. Some of them have some pretty good banding going on. This one here. And they're all pretty. So we will stick them in our sonic cleaner. Next time you'll see them is when we are in the basement getting them ready for stage 2. So we're back down in the creepy basement. We are going to get the Carnelian ready for stage 2. For the stage 2, it's a 180-220 grit. And we're supposed to use 2 tablespoons per pound of rock. And again, we're just going to assume that we have 3 pounds in there. So I need 6 tablespoons. And you will fill it to the top of the rocks with some water. And we'll make sure we get our lid on securely. That way we're not having any oopsies with the water leaking out in the next week. Always very important to check your tumbles throughout the week that they are going, just to make sure everything's running right. We did have one a couple weeks ago that had actually gotten hung up. Make sure I got a dry spot on there to stick my label. Always want to label it. We do have up to 6 tumbles going at the same time, and I like surprises and all, but sometimes it's not great if I don't know what I'm opening. So we'll stick that back on the tumbler, and we'll see that in a week. Hello. We've gotten through our stage 2 for the Carnelian, or at least we hope we have. We haven't opened it yet. I did go ahead and loosen the cap because sometimes there can be much cussing trying to get these off of there. It might start raining here, so there might be some outtakes for this one. We'll see if we can hold the rain off long enough for us to take care of this outside. Right now we're kind of in between rainstorms. The canister hosed out here and let it soak for a few minutes. So this is how our carnelians are looking after the second stage. Banding is really starting to come through really well on these. That's kind of an oddball one. A little bit more carnelian, traditional looking carnelian up here. Nice coral colors. And this is when they're still wet. Let me get this one dried off so you can kind of see. Wet stones have a tendency to look a lot shinier than what they actually are. So if you ever go to buy rough rock, you always want to spray it down so you can kind of get an idea how it's going to look when it's shined up. Because that's how that actually looks if we were to stop the polishing process right now. But we want it to look more like how the wet rocks look. So we will continue on. Okay, so we are getting ready to start our carnelian onto stage 3. We do keep our tumblers separate between stage 1 and 2, and then the stage 3 and 4, just trying to prevent cross-contamination with the grits as much as we can. This is a brand new canister. Nothing's ever been in it. So you can watch me fiddle with it trying to get it open. So I usually on when we're making our videos, I'll go ahead and get these loosened up ahead of time. Didn't think of it until just now. Alright, so we will get this transferred into our polishing one. Don't want to miss anything. Get that out of here. Okay, for our stage 3, it's a 500 grit silicon carbide. We'll do 1 tablespoon per pound of rock. Again, we'll continue assuming that there are 3 pounds in here, so we will do 3 tablespoons. I'm going to make sure I have everything covered with water. As always, we will put our label on there so we know exactly what is inside here and what stage it's at. And we'll see how this is doing in about a week. Cameraman just threw stuff. So today we're going to do a clean out on the stage 3 of our carnelian tumble. Hey, I got it. Get that fixed. On some of these there are some minor pits, kind of like that. When you're tumbling at home, you want to make sure that you have all of the previous week's grit removed. So as you move on through the tumble stages, even just a couple tiny pieces of that old grit can ruin the tumble. You won't get as shiny as what you could otherwise. So what I'm going to do is I will stick these in our ultrasonic cleaner for a little bit and just try to get everything that I can out of it. So I will do that, and then we will see you in the basement to get it ready for the next stage. Alright, so with the Carnelian, we did go ahead and run it through the sonic cleaner, and there was a lot of cruddies that had come out of it. I just went ahead and picked through a couple. This is them dry. And we will go ahead and move them on to stage 4. For the stage 4, we'll be using a 1200 fine grit, aluminum oxide, and we get 1.5 tablespoons per pound of rock. So that will be 4.5 tablespoons. I'll go ahead and hold the camera while the cameraman goes and gets me some water. Forgot to refill that before we started filming. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the order of the scale. The cameraman will expertly put some water in there, just kind of filling it up a little past the top of the rocks. Behind the scenes. I'll hand the camera back to him. Shake that around, get the air bubbles out, and get this lid back on here. We got our new sticker for Carnelian Stage 4. See it in a week. So we have made it to the end of Stage 4 on the Carnelian. Finally get to see how we did with these. Right now it's a white foamy mess. Let the camera kind of scan those over in the sunlight. This one dried off so you can see the dry versus wet comparison. So it's got a nice shine to it. We'll probably go ahead and burnish these just to get any, you can kind of see there's a little bit of grit still stuck in the tiny little crevices there. So next up, burnishing. Alright, so with our Carnelian, we are going to go ahead and burnish it. Now to burnish it, this is just some plain old ivory soap that I used a cheese grater on. And we'll be putting in about 2 tablespoons per pound of rock. And this is just kind of an extra step. I'm not too worried about measuring. Right, and I'll fill that up with water. Let's see if I can get some of the soap off my hands. I also like burnishing because it does clean out the barrel very well. And you only have to let this run about an hour or two. Got some people that'll leave it in there overnight or for a full week. Especially with Carnelian, it's not really necessary. So we will give this its final rinse off in about 2 hours. Alright, so our Carnelian has been varnishing for the last, I'll say 3 hours. I may or may not have fallen asleep and taken a nap. Let's get these rinsed off one last time. And we'll also end this video with a still shot of them after they get dried off. That's kind of our end product. Carnelian's neat with all the banding that it can have kind of going on. It's kind of a neat piece. That one's kind of oddball. If you like this video, make sure you click the like button and subscribe to see some more of our rock adventures.